basketball player dominating you low-level peons, like where they had Joes versus pros on Spike, where they had them Jake be all washed up, they done retired and everything, still dominating these low-level peons. You should look it up. It's on Spike TV. They probably got it on YouTube. Pros versus Joes. That's a beautiful example. All right, the elect. All right, they're the pros. You niggas that's fake in the front, you're a bunch of Joes. Okay, and just like before they perform whatever thing they got to do, say they got to score 10 points on a professional basketball player, a retired professional basketball player. These niggas fat. They haven't been balling for decades, but yet they still busting these Joe shit. You know? And you should hear the Joe talk all types of shit. Yeah, man, I'm calling you out. I want you, you know, you washed up, you old. I'll do this and that. Then when it come playtime, them Jakes, them old pros, they be busting they shit, literally. And it's funny. And that's how it's gonna be, man. We gonna get the last laugh at the end, man, Lord willing. We be counted as those men. I'm gonna swat on that head. Yeah. Keep reading. Verse 5.
Romans chapter 4, verse 5. But to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth not the ungodly.
No, the ungodly.
The ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. That's
right, because prior to coming to this truth, we was all in sin. Like it said back in Galatians, all was under sin, all right, until the Lord came, and the Lord set it up that way so that it's the options is clear. You choose life by believing in Yahweh Shai, or you choose death, going the broad way and doing whatever the hell you want to do, or try to believe on the Lord according to your weak, feeble mind because you don't want to get in line with the Lord. Keep reading.
Even as David also described the blessings of the man whom the Most High putteth righteousness without works, saying, blessed are they whose iniquities are forgiven.
Whose iniquities are forgiven? We went into that last week. It's the remnant. The remnant that's going to be called. All right, keep reading.
And whose sins are covered.
Yep, they covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai. All right, keep reading.
Blessed is the man whom the Lord will not impute sin.
That's right. Who he won't count sin against. We say I'll only be the elect, the remnant. All right, because they're made justified, all right, through their faith and Yahweh Shai, not in their works. All right, keep reading.
Cometh this blessedness then upon the circumcision only, and not upon the circumcision also,
or on the uncircumcision also. Those are code words describing Israel. Those that was under circumcision were the Jews that grew up knowing they were Israelites, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, they knew about the promises. But then you had the uncircumcision, all right, which was talking about Jakes that was living amongst these heathen nations, calling themselves Greeks, all right, who were called Gentiles, Greeks, heathens, the uncircumcision by the Jews in Israel. They was talking about Israelites, man. All right, keep reading. That's what we're talking about, because we, like it said in verse 1, it's talking about Abraham, our father, according to the flesh. Because that's only talking about Israelites. Keep reading.
Well, we say that faith is reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. Now was it then reckoned when he was in circumcision, or in uncircumcision? Not in the circumcision, but in the uncircumcision.
Yeah. The reason why Paul brought up that statement was because Jake, back then, they didn't want to receive the Israelite foreigners because many of them, they weren't keeping the custom of circumcision because they grew up as Greeks. The Greeks didn't practice circumcision. All right. And going back to their fathers, during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, all right, it was considered breaking the law for the Israelites to keep the law, and even if they kept the law of circumcision, they was going to get put to death by the Greeks. So a lot of jakes, out of fear, they just went with the program, and some just went with it because they was wicked. So during the time of the Lord and the apostles, they was the descendants of those people. All right? Keep reading. Verse 11.
And he received the sign of the circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of faith, which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. And the father of the circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of the faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised.
That's right, because when the Lord made the promises to Abraham, all right, that was before he was even given the right of circumcision. All right, you can read that in Genesis 12, Genesis 13, Genesis 15. All right. And it wasn't until Genesis chapter 17 where he was 99 years. Was it 99? Yeah. Get it real quick. He was either 90 or 99 years old. All right. When he was circumcised. Make sure. Yeah, he was 99 years old when he got circumcised. And when he came out of Mesopotamia, all right, after his father died, he was 75. Okay? All right? So that's what Paul is saying. Keep reading. The promises was given to Abraham before the rite of circumcision.
And the father of the circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but also walk in the steps of the faith of our father Abraham, which he had not been circumcised. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed, though through the law, but through righteousness of faith.
But through righteousness of faith. All right? So it's not about just keeping the law, like Nate like to say. All right, it's about the righteousness of faith, man. Okay, keep reading. You at verse 14.
For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void. The promise made of none effect. Because the law worketh wrath, for there is no law. For where there is no law, there is no transgression.
Yeah, where there is no law, there's no transgression. All right, keep reading.
Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end of the promise might be sure to all the seed, and not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all.
Who's the father of Israel? The father of Israel. It wasn't just for the Jews that knew they were Israelites that was keeping the law, statutes, and commandments from their birth up. All right? But it was also for the Israelites that was Jews or Israelites that was foreigners because they grew up in other countries. All right? Okay, or they grew up under other customs. All right, which that will apply to us today because all Israel we discontinued from our heritage. Therefore, they couldn't boast because everybody was in the same predicament. We grew up not knowing we was Israel, according to the scriptures, according to the prophecy. Okay, so the only way you're going to obtain righteousness with the Lord is through faith in the Lord. All right. You have verse 17.
As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations. Therefore